You're listening to BYU-Idaho Radio. I'm Nathan Lenahan, and today I'm speaking with Amy Thompson, the Development Director of the Art Museum of Eastern Idaho. Amy, thank you so much for calling in and letting us talk to you about this.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we know you have an event coming up, but before we get into that, just want to learn a little bit more about you. So how long have you worked for the Art Museum of Eastern Idaho?
I think I might be coming up on my 1-year anniversary in February, so I'm kind of a newbie at the museum.
Hey, nice. That's exciting. And have you
Yeah,
always been the development director there?
yeah, that's the title that I started out with. I started by volunteering there. We moved to Idaho from the East Coast about 2 years ago, and so I just started volunteering at the museum, and an opening became available and they offered it to me, and then I stepped into that role.
Nice. And as development director, what do you do?
Um, Essentially, I work on raising awareness about the museum, reaching out to different parts of the community and making sure that we're creating as many ties as possible, that we're opening our doors to as many groups as possible, and that we make sure that everyone knows we exist, the kind of classes and events that we offer. And there's a bit of fundraising in there as well. Typically, development directors are a lot involved in fundraising. And right now, our executive director handles most of that. She's been a member of this community her whole life, and it just works for her to do that. And I'm more of in a supportive capacity for that. And my background is in marketing, so that's where I tend to focus. And I also run our teen program. So those are kind of the different hats that I wear. We all wear a couple different hats because of the small staff.
And so for any of our listeners who aren't familiar with the Art Museum of Eastern Idaho, what would you say that its purpose is?
Well, we are the only art museum in this region, and our big emphasis is education and accessibility. So we have a lot of classes that we offer. We also serve as a hub and a resource for artists, and we're always looking for ways to make sure that as much of the community as possible is able to benefit from the things that we offer.
That's great. Thank you so much. And so could you tell us about this event you have coming up on Thursday, the 22nd, and what that's all about?
Yeah, you bet. We are opening a new exhibit, so we've been closed for a couple of weeks. Lots of boxing up the old exhibit, doing some little repairs, curating the current exhibits that we're opening, and getting everything all ready to open our doors again on Thursday. So the exhibit that we're having for the next couple months is work from the Eagle Rock Art Guild, and then that's our main exhibit in the main gallery areas. But then we've also got work from local high school students, which is really something that we love to do. And that is part of the Helen Opperly Scholarship Show, and that's something that the Eagle Rock Art Guild orchestrates. So that's really fun to be able to show. And then we've got Tony Carpenter, and that name may ring a bell because he actually teaches at BYU-Idaho. He's got some work in our corridor gallery, which is really neat. And then we've also got this woman named Jamie Jones, and she works at a gallery in Montana, but she's getting her MFA from the Savannah College of Art and Design. So she's got her senior thesis show that she's showing at our museum, and that's really going to be a lot of fun.
That sounds exciting. How many exhibits typically can you hold there at once?
Well, it is not a huge exhibition space. We typically have one main exhibit and then a smaller exhibit in our corridor gallery and then in our classroom. So we have this classroom space where we do hold classes, but on the walls around it, we also have things on display. But we generally have about 18 exhibits per year. However, we are creating a new education center, and once that is built, hopefully in 2028, that's going to double our exhibition space. And that also means that we don't have to close when we're switching out an exhibit. We can actually stay open and just rotate them through. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, that seems like a definite improvement. And so could you tell us a bit about the public reception that you're having for this exhibition opening event?
Sure. So we always try to have an opening party, to kick off the exhibit. It's a lot of fun. We usually get a good turnout. There's hors d'oeuvres and music, and a lot of the artists show up. So especially since this is local artists, sometimes we have exhibits, where the artists are from farther away and they can't all make it. Like our last one was for the Society of Animal Artists, and that drew people from all over the world, although we did have a good turnout of the ones that were able to make it. But that being said, since this is the local art guild, we should see a lot of the artists, and it's really fun to show up and be able to mingle with them and talk to them about their work and their practice. So it's a good time. It's 5 to 8 p.m. tomorrow or Thursday, depending on when people are listening to this.
And could you tell us more about the Helen Opperly Senior Scholarship Show? You said that helps promote younger artists.
Yeah, absolutely. So the main exhibit that we have right now, as I mentioned, is the Eagle Rock Art Guild's exhibit. So all the members of the guild have the opportunity to show their art in it. And the guild is actually who started the museum in 2002. So they're responsible for creating a museum in this region. And Helen Opperly was one of the founding members of the Eagle Rock Art Guild. And she has since passed away, but left this legacy. And the idea is for graduating seniors that are interested in the arts to present a portfolio, and the portfolio is judged by a panel and scored, through a rubric, and then they're awarded. I believe they have first grand prize and then maybe 3 subsequent prizes, but there's a scholarship and then some smaller scholarships. And the idea is to support those students in pursuing their passion for the arts.
And do you know how many students are participating in this and going to have their work on display there?
I would have to guess off the top of my head, but when I saw it all laid out, we had it all set up in the gallery for the jurors to look at. Oh, it was probably around 20, I would guess. And I'm not sure that it all gets displayed. All of the winners do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think a selection of the other submissions also get displayed as well.
Nice. That is exciting. That would be pretty crazy to be able to have your work shown in a museum, especially if you're a young student like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that we really love being able to provide that as a museum, to be a place for not just adult local artists, but also the rising generation of artists to have a place to display their work, to engage with other artists, to take classes. It's a big part of our mission.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of classes and programs do you offer there at the museum?
We offer, really all sorts of different mediums and all sorts of different ages. Everything, I think, starting as young as 4. Our mud club is for really young kids. We have some really great ceramics courses, and we have a kiln and some staff members that are really expert in ceramics, as well as some artists from the community that come and teach. So we've got pottery classes, from little kids all the way up to adults. We also have beginning drawing and watercolor for adults, and then we have artistic adventures. That's an after-school art class, and that's always a rotating, theme, different projects that they're doing. We do spring break camps and summer camps for kids and teens. We also have workshops. So these are just, rotating, and it just depends on whatever the artist is going to be teaching. I think we have Sally Ellis is doing a workshop coming up, and I can't remember exactly what she's focusing on, but I think some sort of painting. And then we also have some teen events that aren't exactly classes, but it's usually some sort of art project. We're doing a sculpture, or we're doing paintings or something like that. Yeah. So lots and lots of things to do.
Wow, it sounds like you really just have something for pretty much anybody there, any age, any group or interest.
That's what we're trying.
And in the future, with the new education center, will those programs expand and you have even more of them down the line?
Yeah, that's the idea. Right now, we tend to have this one multi-purpose space that we're just rotating a lot of things through, and we'll break down the space 3 times a day to make it work for, different workshops or classes or events. But this way, in the new expansion, we'll have a dedicated ceramics studio, a dedicated printmaking studio, hopefully a place that's just for the teens that they can use, a library. So yeah, we should be able to accommodate more students and have more frequent classes. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. In addition to the new art center, are there any other future plans for um, the Art Museum of East Idaho that you'd be able to share?
Well, right right now, the education center really is consuming most of our energy and
Makes
effort,
sense.
as well as just keeping the everyday things running and the exhibits and whatnot. We do plan out our exhibit schedule several years in advance, so that's kind of exciting. We just recently went to a conference and we're picking out some different exhibits that we're going to be offering to the community. So that's really fun to look ahead to that. The kind of things that we're able to offer that we're bringing in. So we do have some really exciting exhibits coming up in the next year or two.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. And do you guys find you get a lot of community support and help in, I guess, just in improving everything and making it all run smoothly?
Yeah, I think so. It's generally a very supportive community. And I think maybe the biggest hurdle is simply awareness. The community that we have, there's definitely an art museum community, and that is really strong, really supportive. And then outside of that, there are community members that are aware of the museum, local leaders, in our city government and things like that. We've received a lot of support there. They know about the expansion. They're very supportive of that. We're hoping to create a sculpture garden in the park that's near the museum. So really a lot of excitement and support from the community. And I think the more people learn about the museum, the more support and enthusiasm we feel. And so it's just kind of this ongoing rolling, building wave of awareness and support and enthusiasm.
Right. And in the past years, or I guess in your time there, have you seen growth? Have you seen the community become more aware of the art museum and everything that goes on there?
Yeah, absolutely. We've put a lot of effort into raising awareness, and I think we're seeing returns on that investment. Our membership numbers are going up, donations are going up for the expansion. So it really does feel like the community is excited about creating more of an arts culture here in our community, and we're really getting a positive response. So that feels really good. It feels like there's a need, there's excitement about it, and we're seeing that kind of return.
Yeah, that is great. And just last, is there anything that you'd just want to share about the art museum, or anything that you'd want the community or listeners to know?
Let's see. Well, we always love it when BYU-I students come down and visit the museum. It's a great thing to do with friends on the weekend, fun date night. We do have a fun event next month at the end of February. It's a poetry slam, and it's open to the whole community. You can come and just listen. Audience members are crucial. and But also, if you're feeling brave, you have 3 poems that are original. So there are 3 rounds, and then there's a prize at the end. But it's really a fun night, a lot of fun. We have music and food, and it's a great event to come to. So I would say keep your eye out for that. I believe it's February 27th. We would love to see some BYU-I students down for that.
It's good to know. Amy, thank you so much for your time and for coming on and sharing all this with us.
Well, you're so welcome. It's always a pleasure.